Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Bogardus. Just wanting to let you know that I have posted your grades for the Module 2 application activity in Nursing 3011, and I wanted to take a moment to show you how to view your feedback. I gave a lot of feedback, a lot of comments, and I know that can be overwhelming, but I wanted to be sure to give you a variety of guidance on writing, on formatting using the APA 7th edition guidance, and also making sure that you are paying attention to the different elements of assignment instructions, that you're addressing all of the prompts as we expect you to. So I've made lots and lots of comments. I would like you to take some time to read through them so that you can then use those comments to help you improve on future assignments. I did not take off a lot of points considering the number of comments I made. So for example, you may have had multiple APA errors and only lost a few points. You may have had several different writing errors and only lost a couple of points. So take this opportunity to use the feedback because I will be expecting more as you go through the semester, and I will be grading a little more strictly as I go through looking at future assignments. So right now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you how to review your feedback. You'll go into the course, into Module 2, scroll down to the Turnitin Dropbox, click into the Dropbox. You should see your assignment submission title, click into that. That will take you into the Turnitin Feedback Studio, where you should see little comment bubbles. You're going to see a lot more comment bubbles than this, and I apologize for that. But it's just really helpful for identifying particular issues with the writing or APA formatting. So in a lot of cases, I will have highlighted words and then attach the comment to the words so that at least you know what the comment's referring to. So this is just to show you sort of how to navigate. You'll look at your writing and then you'll click into the comment bubble and you'll see the message. Expand this discussion further with more details and examples. In this instance, for question number 2 on the middle range theory, the comment was, this section needs more details and needs some citations of sources, i.e. textbook and scholarly articles. On critical thinking, I purposely put in some information from the textbook, cited the textbook, but the paraphrasing was very poor. In other words, my wording was very similar to what is the wording in the chapter in the textbook. So most of this wording was highlighted by Turnitin as being too similar to the source. So my comment to some of you is when Turnitin highlights a sentence or a couple of sentences saying that the content's too similar to the source, what you need to do is you need to go back to the source, look at the wording in the source and look at your wording and notice whether you're writing in the same order, using the same words, maybe just different forms of the word or different verb tenses. That's not sufficient. You really have to reword completely in an original way. If you want to use a direct quote, you can, but we want you to limit the number of direct quotes you use, especially in brief writing. But this wording is very similar to the section in chapter 7 on critical thinking, where there are bullet points for the aspects of critical thinking. So my message to the student here is much of this content was highlighted by Turnitin as being worded too similarly to content in another source. Review this content against the source you used and rewrite the content completely in your own words. If you want to directly quote the source, refer to your APA 7th edition manual, chapter 8, which has guidance on how to format a direct quote. If you'll look at the chapter, you'll see how similar my writing here is to what's in the textbook. So when I'm talking about the critical thinking I used in my patient care, I say specifically I considered the complexity and ambiguity of issues and at the same time sought to identify the essential elements and exclude whatever was relevant to the matter. So if I go into the chapter, I can find that area. So here it is, critical thinking, and I can try to, yeah. Critical thinking considers the complexity and ambiguity of issues. At the same time, critical thinking seeks to identify the essential elements and exclude whatever is irrelevant to the matter being considered. So I very much formed my sentence similarly to this one. And that is akin to plagiarism, even though I cited the source. If I wanted to make it a direct quote, I would have to use the exact wording in the chapter and enclose the wording in quotation marks, double quotation marks at the beginning and the end, cite the authors and cite the year, and then put a comma here and cite the page number with the abbreviation P period, space, and then the page number. The second statement, also I learned how to gather and evaluate data, distinguishing facts from opinions and probing assumptions behind my reasoning. If you go back into the chapter, I said, gather and evaluate data. So I just look up gather. Here it is. Critical thinking requires skills. We need to know how to gather and evaluate data. We need to distinguish facts from opinions and probe assumptions behind a line of reasoning. So again, this wording that I've given here is very similar and is not properly paraphrased. It's not properly summarized in my own words. So you may see that comment in your assignment. The last idea that I provided here is for the question on resilience and your search. You should have been describing your search, not just searching in general on these databases. You should be showing, I used the following keywords. I started my search on CINAHL. I continued with a search on PubMed. The limits I used included the following. I found more articles on CINAHL versus PubMed and so forth. And you wanted to make sure you addressed all the prompts in that question, including talking about how the information on resilience in the article you found and selected, how that information can be used in your life to improve your resilience. So I wanted to see a little bit of specifics there. So the comment, provide more detailed discussion of how you will apply the information on resilience to your life applies there. All right, well, I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any questions and you want to meet with me on Zoom or talk with me over the phone about your feedback, I am more than happy to take the time to do that. And I wish you well as you go through the rest of your week.